Good morning, good morning, good morning, and peace and blessings to you. It's a great day. It's a blessed day. It's a Tuesday. And if you don't know anything else on this Tuesday, know that you deserve to be blessed. Look at here, ladies and gentlemen. It is Titan and Atlantis. Well, if we go by the alphabet, it's Atlantis and then Titan, right? We're coming to you all this morning. I have the one, the only Atlantis Capri with us this morning, and we're going to have a candid conversation this morning about pretty much everything Atlantis and everything Capri. Yeah, make sure y'all want to tune in. So share. Make sure y'all got everything going on. Make sure that you are tagging, sharing into groups, doing all of that good stuff. We want to make sure that we are doing what we need to do, and that we got it going. And so this morning is going to be a little different because we're just going to have a candid conversation. We're just going to have a conversation. We're just going to talk about what we want to talk about and what we're actually doing this morning. So let me make sure that I got, there we go. All right. So I was making sure that I had everybody in this morning. And y'all share to your group, share to your places. So without further ado, what I would like to do is have Miss Atlantis Capri. I've already introduced her, but say a little something to the peoples. This is new for us, huh? This is new for us.
It's new and I don't do it. But of course, I'm Atlantis, pronounced she, her, hers, and goddess and mother. Not just playing. But no, I don't do this. But I think at some points, especially now where we are with all the trans language and narratives out there, that it is time that some of our voices are heard and some of our visibility is leaned to share different narratives than what is just put out there. And that we're in a moment now where it's not our fight. I mean, our me fight is all our fights. So it's trying to get having that conversation where we came from and how I got to wherever I am at.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. That's what we're talking about this morning. Yes, indeed. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Yes. Hey, new hire. Charlotte and I used to work together. We were both new hires at the same time. Thank you for tuning in, Charlotte. I appreciate you. All right, so let's do this. All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you share. We're going to ask some questions and all of that. Good morning, Ebony. Oh, y'all just coming on in this morning. Good morning. Y'all go ahead and show Miss Atlantis Capri some love this morning. First time on the show. How long we been knowing each other?
I don't know.
How long? It's been a minute. My daughter is 23. Your son is how old?
28.
28. I've been knowing Nick since he was 5. So about So about 23 years, 24 years. We are both a part. She's the mother of the House of Capri, but we're both part of the House of Capri. We came together back in the 90s. Don't judge our age. We still look good. But we came together in the 90s, late 90s, and is that around
it's kind of, I mean, I think if you speak about it honestly, you have to speak about when it was publicly acknowledged, and then when it was actually existing prior to that.
Indeed. So, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, y'all see already, we're on our way. Okay, come on, Ebony. Yeah, she got some pearly whites. Indeed. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get into the regular rigmarole of the episode, but then we're going to come back and we're going to ask some questions, and then we're going to let Atlantis tell us about what's going on in the community, how she feels about that, and what's happening. But first, ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to do is take a moment and come with me and come with Atlantis this morning. And I want you to take a moment and acknowledge that your breath is important. We got so much going on in the world today that we want to make sure that we take a moment and just acknowledge that we're important, that we're here, that we're living. Nothing against anybody that has passed or was murdered or anything like that, but we're here and we're able to go ahead and go forward, okay? So I want you to make sure that you take a moment and just take a breath. And the way that we do that here is that we take 3 breaths. The first breath, I'm going to count it out. It's going to be at a slower 5 pace, as you already know. I will count it on the first one, but on the second one, we're going to be quiet. I'm going to go ahead and do my hands and all that. Just because Atlantis said, that don't mean I ain't going to do my wave and all that good stuff. And then on the third on the third one, what we're going to do is go ahead, take that breath, acknowledge whatever the problem, issue, concern is, right? And then we're going to blow it out and make some noise. Now, again, as we say all the time here on A Thought to Ponder, if you are somewhere in a library, somewhere doing whatever have you, and you make a whole lot of noise and you get fired, we are not responsible.
Now, why would you have us?
We are not responsible. We are not responsible. Good morning, Jatan. Good morning, Christopher. Hey, hey. Okay, come on, Ebony. We all need a woosah, all right? So on the count of 3, what we're going to do is take a deep breath, and I'm going to count it out so that we know. Now, this breath should actually feel good, give you a little warm and fuzzy, a little tingly. You shouldn't be choking or spitting up. I'm telling y'all, we ain't responsible. I'm just letting you know right now. Because I know somebody going to contact us and say, hey, y'all had us choking.
But why would I say spitting and choking? If we woosah.
Okay. If we woosah. Yes, indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. On the count of 3, I'm going to take the deep breath and I'm going to count it out. Now, do understand I said a 5 pace. It is not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just no. All right, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes, that's what we want to do. Monica. Monica said, who got her out the house? Monica, I am in the house. I had to come to the house.
But how long did you have to be?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you for noticing that, Monica, because
it's no secret.
It's no secret. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're on the second breath. Come go ahead with us on the second breath. Y'all saw Atlantis taking that breath as well. Y'all saw it. Y'all saw it. All right. On the second breath, we're going to go ahead and take it. And it's the same thing. This time, I won't count it out. We're just going to go through the motions and we'll be good. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, deep breath in. And blow it out. Look, y'all, I'm sitting right here being Atlantis and I'm trying, things are dinging and phones are vibrating. I'm thinking like, what the heck did I just do? So look, y'all, look, I'm on live with her. Send what you got to the live. Send what you got to the live.
I was just trying to figure out how you going to take a deep breath and count in that deep breath.
That was the first one.
I know, but you was counting all out.
That was the first one. That's why I say I got to tell everybody.
We're going to need some fingers.
Okay. But that's why I do this. And when I come down, then it's like, ooh. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on this third breath, y'all know we like to acknowledge that everything is good. What happened on yesterday is gone. Today is a new day. We can go forward. We can do. So on this breath, what I ask that you do is to take whatever that issue, problem, concern is, and I want you to make some noise when you blow it out. Make some noise when you blow it out. It's okay to acknowledge whatever it may be. It's okay to acknowledge it, but make sure you go ahead and blow it out. Ooh, okay? All right, on the count of 3, we're going to take that deep breath. And remember, make some noise when you blow it out this time. And I'm sure Atlantis is going to make some noise, you know.
I'm not.
You know.
I can see.
All right. So on the count of 3, we'll take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in. And look, ladies and gentlemen, share. Y'all come on in and speak to the lady. Atlantis is in the building today. Well, I'm in her building today, and we're gonna do this interview. I knew this was gonna be too ticklish and stuff. Look, old friend. Hey. All right, so Atlantis. So let's get into it. Oh, you know what? Look, I'm so excited. I'm doing this interview this morning. I'm all off track. So what we like to do at the Thought to Ponder, we like to groove a little bit. So since me and Atlantis both are performers, right? We know how to get on beat. We know how to, be on our words. We know how to be on our words. Me and Atlantis was just talking the other day, and I was saying they can say what they want to say, but they can't say nothing about us being on our words. We were lip sync, as they say on RuPaul Drag Race. Now we were lip sync assassins. Like we tore it up. Now you could try to say whatever you wanted to say about anything else, but we was always on our words, and we was always going to give you a show. Indeed. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what we like to do is to have a little fun in the mornings and go ahead and start with the groove. So I think that y'all are ready. Are y'all ready?
Ready.
Atlantis finna get in it. Atlantis gonna get into the groove. If y'all ready, let's go ahead. Let's do it. Right? Sit it da 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 da. Sit it da 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 da. T2P, check me out. T2P, check me out. Zoom. I bet she'll be singing it later.
I'm just
T2P, check me out. T2P, check me out. Right. That's my groove.
Have you laid that on the track yet?
Already.
Come on, that's cute.
See?
But I ain't trying to sound like the baritone singing that either.
You know what? That part. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and let's get to the nitty-gritty and all that good stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So as we stated before, it's been 20 plus years that I have been a part of the House of Capri. And what I want to ask Atlantis, if you would, one of the questions that our viewers or listeners actually asked was, what was the reason why was there a need for a House of Capri?
So I don't think that there was a need for a House of Capri. Knowingly, there was a need for a House of Capri. Okay. I think unintentionally it was discovered that there was a need for House of Capri. I do think that House of Capri was a part of a different segment of people's life. I wanted a space that wasn't like, I'm not against gay houses and stuff, but when people say I was over a gay house, I'm a gay house mother. I'm not a gay house mother because I'm not gay. And I didn't walk into that space looking to attract only LGBTQ. Of course, we have everybody in that family, but it was important because a lot of times that a lot of our members were just as introverted as me to a degree, or just did not fit in a category. And it wasn't about fitting in the category, but it was more about feeling like a space where it was yours.
Right.
It was supposed to be that mentorship. It was supposed to be that extended barrier against everything that was out here. But also was mainly to be an investment in self.
Yes.
To let people know that life was more than just our club scene, and that when the club doors closed, you still had to go out and be productive in life, and that was only a part of you and not all of you. So like I said, I'm not knocking gay houses because they are very important in our community. I just know for me that a lot of times people misconstrue House of Capri as a gay house, and it's not. It's a family, because this is my family. It has nothing to do with their sexual orientation or their gender identity. And I don't think that we always fit in that box that's so socially designed for us.
Right, exactly. So would you say that, like, so for those individuals that are praising Pose and doing all of that, nothing against Pose, because Pose is, yes, I love Pose myself, but for those that are all out there thinking that most houses run a certain way, right, or most families are a certain way, would you say that you were you started out with the same thought process as Blanca, wanting to have a family, because her family was not so forthcoming with her transition or with her standing up to be who she was? Was that something, or was it something else?
I didn't start with wanting to start a family because I had a family. You guys were my family. So it wasn't about that. I just realized that as we were doing the things we were doing, we were collectively taking care of each other and being there for each other and stepping up when family members weren't, that it was a time to organize.
Indeed.
And to make it more powerful, to be something different than just a house, to have some kind of foundation and legacy behind it. Because yes, we love the shows. God knows I've competed and I've been a showgirl. I'm never going to say that the club scene hasn't helped create me, but I will say that as you get older, there are different things that you need to invest in.
Indeed.
Because we're not always governed to be on the stage, and anything could take you off that stage. Look at the pandemic. I mean, we are finding new ways to be entertainers, but I did not leave the stage. What I did was go to another stage.
Okay, come on.
So when people make this thing about why did you leave the stage, I never left the stage. I'm not hiding from the public. I just chose that, okay, I had did this part on this stage. It's time to let some newer generations get in and let me transition to another stage that I could still help my community as a whole.
That part. And so a lot of times people think because you don't do shows anymore, quote unquote, that you've left the stage like that. And so if you really think about what Atlantis just said, that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense because what you're doing is, there comes a time, I was reading something one day, Tina Turner had an interview, and she said, there comes a time when I have to let that go, and I got to move over here because this is no longer what back in my 20s and 30s, I was killing it and stuff like that. But now I have this, I have a family, I have so much more. So a lot of times you transition over, like you said, to another part of your life. You're still there, right? But you just transition over. So you're not visible in that sense because you don't no longer do that, but you're over here doing this.
But then, like, I still want to compete, but I also, like, it was a conversation once. Why did my name change from Atlantis Capri on Facebook to Atlantis Narcisse? Well, I had to be smart in what I was doing. I know that a lot of people reach out to me, but I also know that if they're reaching out to Atlantis Capri, it comes with a spotlight that's on them. Not saying that it's not a spotlight that's on them as Atlantis Narcisse, but when you say Atlantis Narcisse, not too many people click and put Atlantis Capri together. And that thing was to make sure that my spotlight didn't stop people from getting help or being afraid to approach me.
Right. Indeed. See, so I want to bring up something. Me and Atlantis had a conversation just the other day when I told her that I wanted to interview her, and we were talking about, and I'm gonna bring Pose back up again. So there's this part where they all come to the table to eat, right? And they discuss what's going on and stuff like that. A lot of people don't know that that's how we used to do it. That's how we would do. Like, we literally would have dinners We would have breakfast. We would have, if somebody was having a birthday or a graduation or something like that, we always came together and we always tried to have that family dinner or that family bonding moment. And when I was watching that on Pose, I was like, man, that's what we used to do.
It's an important thing that I call them kitchen table talks. Those kitchen table talks shape a lot of families.
Yes.
It starts in your birth home, if possible, and then extend it out there. But in those kitchen conversations, what it allowed you to do was be vulnerable.
Indeed.
And vulnerable in a circle or in a collective of people that you felt a likeness with.
Right.
It's a difference than knowing somebody and then having a likeness with them. You know, it's more things than just, hey, about this. It's more things, and we need support.
Yeah.
And if you can't sit at that table is supposed to be where you serve meals and fulfill yourself, get full. So you're supposed to sit at the table, you prepare your dish because it may fulfill somebody else.
Exactly. All right, so Gerard says, will you ever come back for a one night only or a final show pageant? And if so, what will it be?
So a lot of people that's close to me that are privileged to have conversations with me on that level. Yes, I probably will come back to the stage. I don't think that I've given up competing, and I don't think that I've given up performing.
Gotcha.
I think that right now I'm a better access right there to that stage. And when it brings me back to that pageant stage, I could bring that light to it. So the thing is that I use whatever fan base I had as Atlantis Capri to bring me over and rock me over as Atlantis Narcisse. So now it's time to reverse that and bring whatever fan base I have as Atlantis Narcisse back to my pageant world, because that is so much that people don't realize. And that's our history.
Right.
Like it's a history of building strength and endurance. And I promise, honey, if you could be a entertainer and a pageant competitor in Houston, Texas, oh my God, you got it, cause baby.
Okay, exactly. But you know what's funny though, and we were talking about this before as well, is that it's hard, right? It's a rough route to go as any pageant person or anybody that's competing. But that was some of the most funnest, best times we ever had. Like changing in a restroom or getting ready for a show in the kitchen or piling up in a car and driving to San Antonio, or like we talked about Laredo, like going down to Laredo and then being stopped by the Border Patrol.
Y'all wouldn't stop. I was stopped at the border because they didn't think I was American.
We were like, wait a minute, what's going on? But those were some great times. And like we've been to Dallas, we've been to other places. Like it really makes you think about what it took, right? We were doing props on the porch, painting, rehearsals, everything.
But I think the important part about my history in competing was that I did not make my competition about me. That when I will compete, I will also make sure we had 2 or 3 extra days after my competition where we had a family vacation in wherever city we were, even if that means driving to another city on the way back home.
Right.
And to have that moment, because I think that in our respect, we need to take advantage of the times that we get to be together, because none of this is promised.
Indeed. So Gerard, you heard that. Didi Waters says, love you both. This was amazing. Thank you. Vanita says, I love you, Atlantis. Eric Edward gives a heart. And then Lamonte says, I just wanted to say I'm so honored to have met you guys and got to dance and perform with you. Yeah, those were the days, boy. Those were the days. Said fun times. Oh, indeed. All right. So when we come together as a house, how important was it for it to be, because you mentioned this early on, and I just want to just tap on this one more time before we get off the subject. How important was family? Was it because because a lot of people say, "Oh, y'all just doing pageants. That's all y'all doing is doing pageants." But as we've just stated in these just couple of minutes, is that we sit down, we had celebrations, people. A part of our family members were having children and bringing people into this world, and that there was a plethora of individuals that grew up in Capri, grew up in the House of Capri. So how important was it for them to have anything that you may not have had back then? Because I know for me, I had a place, right? I had a place I could come, like-minded individuals, people that would walk in the same walk that I was walking. And even if you were not out. So a lot of people think, oh, because you're part of a house that you're just actually just out there. And most of the time it's not like that. And then when the time came for me to be out, my family was behind me, standing there, making sure that I was good. So how important was that for you?
Wow. So it was, I don't think that I can even measure the importance. Does that make sense? I think that you get what you need from each of these situations and scenarios that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that it was important to make sure that we knew that we weren't trying to erase your original family, your birth family. Like, I know half of my Capri's parents. I have relationships with their real family members. I even have a Capri that was she has passed, and her child is a Capri, and she surrendered her child to me, and we all know who that is. But I think it was important because I'm not gonna say what I didn't have and what I did have, because you never know what you have, and sometimes the things that we think we didn't have, we had. We just didn't know how to acknowledge them. I would say that it is important to always have a constant stream of variety from family, and that means the chaos, that means the stressful times, the mean the moment. Like, let's not go in there thinking it's a Walgreens commercial. Like, you have to go in there and know that. I think that what made it even more, I think, easier for me, one, I never paid attention to what any other house was doing. I treated people as individuals, and then I was a parent already. Like, people think, oh, she walked into this. I walked into this with a baby on my hip. And there wasn't anybody to tell me anything. So when people saw me being stuck up and bougie and not doing this with the clicks and stuff, it's because I had a child to go home to every night. And I knew that any action that I took to take would affect my kid. So I carried that same mentality over. Hey, Vern, I carried that same mentality over to how I interact with y'all.
Indeed.
And I think so when we, but let's make sure that we understand that this wasn't just a one-sided deal. It wasn't that they took from me. They also built me up. They invested in me. So anytime that I do anything, I always tell them, if y'all see something in me and y'all happy that I'm doing it, it's look at your investment. Because that's it's real. We don't acknowledge that people have invested in us. We think that we have done all the work by ourselves. And I'm sorry, that's not really how that goes.
That's not how that goes. Timothy says, love you, Atlantis. Such an inspiration. Ian says, love this. I'm mad I'm late. Verna said, hey, Ma. Gerard says, her wisdom has always been so amazing. Indeed. And we got a couple of hearts. All right, Reginald, put the hearts there. So I think that that I wanted to say, and this is nothing I haven't told Atlantis, but I wanted to say on this, because we've been doing shows and pageants and things for years, and it seems like, and I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, so please don't take it that way, but it seems like now that we are older and more settled in our lives, right, that things are starting to like really like show, like we look back and say, oh wow, so we really did do some things like that. So what I want to say to you today while we're on is I want to give you kudos. I want to say thank you, congratulations on doing it in the best way you know how, doing it without asking for anything in return. And then for those of us who are part of the family, we know, we understand what that is. Those on the outside may not get it, but I just want to say thank you for always moving the way that you move. And sometimes a lot of people don't like that you move in silence, but I just want to say I applaud you. I want to give you your roses today, your flowers today, and just say thank you. I appreciate you. I love you for what you have done with the House of Capri and what you will continue to do with the House of Capri, because sometimes when I look back on those times, those good times.
Stay back up here.
Okay. But I just wanted to say that. So I'm gonna just say that and be done with that. But I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate you for doing that.
Thank you. In reference to moving in silence, I'm never moving in silence. I'm strategic with my steps.
How about
I
that?
feel like that if you put everything out there that you're going to do, it puts people in the way of blocking what you need to do. So if they don't know what you're doing, you go. So if you view it as me moving in silence, then that's good. It is called divide and conquer. You got a spot for everybody, and you can't. Everybody doesn't want to stay in their spot, and sometimes they want to control your spot. So I don't tell people what I'm doing, because if I'm here to help the people, I'm not here to brag about it, what I've done, and it's not. There has been so much that I have done. I mean, let's use House of Capri. We were the first house to start performing with ICOH and raising money for HIV and AIDS. We're the first family to do the AIDS walk, because no house that had registered as a house. So the thing is that you figure out what you want to do, but you also have to listen to the people that support you.
Exactly.
Like I grew up under an umbrella of powerful people. You know, I had Randy Rochelle as my parent, and I had Victoria Prince. Of course, we know I worked at Incognito, and as an entertainer, you saw the older entertainers and stuff like that. It was like a different sisterhood that I don't see now.
Right.
And I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that's not my politics.
Right.
And that I feel that as long as any of this stuff is going to occur, we don't realize the steps that we make today won't be seen till like 20 years later, and it won't have its true value until 25 years later.
Exactly.
So that when people sit up here and say, "Oh, they keep talking about her, she getting these awards for this, they writing these articles about it," and I'm like, I literally have to tell them, "Child, that's what stuff I did 15, 20 years ago." They haven't even seen what I've done. Like it's not even paying dues. I was just doing it. It did not matter. I have never craved the like. If you see me as an entertainer, I entertain, and I walk away from it. My moment in that spotlight was 7 minutes, and I think it's an injustice if we don't realize that we have to live after that spotlight.
Right, exactly. So I think it's funny because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, why?" I was reading something comments, and they were saying, "Well, why are they going up for these old queens?" And this is the comment.
It don't bother me because you define old how you want to.
Yeah. So, but they were saying, "Well, why are they going up for these old queens? These old queens ain't doing none of that." But you don't understand what that is. Just like you just said, your parents, right? Most people may not even know that just know you now. But those of us back then, we knew who the parents were, right? And it's crazy because you have these these families, these houses. No, I'm saying like,
I'm correcting you.
So you have these houses and these families, and they don't know the legacy. They don't know what happened back then. And so then you get people saying, "Oh, well, why are they applauding her? Or what did she do? Or what did he do? Or what did they do?" But then you have to understand that you've been doing this for 20 plus, like you've been doing it for a while. Like somebody asked me the other day, I had posted a picture on a Throwback Thursday of us, like, no, not of us all, but like at a club. And I was saying, "Oh, my family," and they were like, "Where is that club? The club don't even exist anymore." Like it's not even here anymore. But those were the times that we were all get together. We would roll in 30 deep, you know.
Well, I think part of this lack of history, of legacy, or knowledge of legacy is our fault. So, you know, the older mentors, like we have given everybody the cake to eat, but they don't know how to bake the cake that they want.
Right.
I feel like, and with me, I was going to correct that because I feel like when you come into the House of Capri, you have to do an internship. You have to write why you want to be in, and you need to reach out to some of the forefathers of it. You need to understand why I got started. You need to understand these things, not because I felt like I wanted to be grand,
right?
But I feel like it was because why would you want to be part of something that you don't know about?
Exactly.
Like, do your research. It's not so much as for me to. I'm not preparing you to be in this house. I'm preparing you to be in the real world with your choices. Right. Do your research. Indeed. Stop gaining because it was the popular thing. I don't care about popularity.
Right.
And I'm not looking for validate. The only thing you can validate on me is my car ticket, not me. I am not a validation. I don't need validation. But other than that, that's crazy. Like, you have to do your research. If you don't do your research, you invest in something that may not be a good representation of you and may be stagnant to your growth.
Indeed. I like that. All right. So I know that we're moving along.
Might go a little over.
All right. And so what I want to do is kind of shift gears here. And this is a touchy subject for a lot of people. But again, we are having a candid conversation. That's what the title says, candid conversation. And Atlantis agreed to this candid conversation. But let me read a couple of comments real quick here. Gerard said, "So true. Wish other entertainers would acknowledge the fact as they scream so much." And I did myself. Vernon says, "What does the shirt say?"
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough, baby.
That face is stretched.
Birdie says, "Love you,
baby.
Love you, mama." Grover says, looking good, sister." See, hey, Grover.
Taught you how to be entertained.
Yeah, Grover was it? That was it. Because I know manager in my rascal days. Yeah, my rascal days. Yes, indeed. Vernon said, "Yes, get a lady her flowers."
Hey, Aurelia.
Hey, Aurelia. Hey,
Neil.
Yes, Atlantis, you're an inspiration because DJ Chill Neil says, yes, indeed. Hey, Auntie. That's my real aunt. That's my dad's sister.
I see the names.
Hey,
that's my trouble right there.
Oh, what? Hey. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do, I want to ask Atlantis a question that was sent to me. So right now we got a lot going on in the world, and trans women, trans men, trans people, trans, just all the way across the board has been attacked, has been, they have been murdered. We got so much going on. The question is, what does transitioning mean to you, and why was it important for that?
Oh, I love this question.
I don't know, that look you gave me. I was like,
because I think that what society has done now is made it seem that only transgender people own the word transition.
Right.
Every day, everybody transitions to something. You transition from the car to the office. You transition from this. So all that, like, it's only deemed for trans people is so crazy to me. Transition wasn't important to me because I didn't think I was transition or even have the inclination that I was transition. What I was being me.
Right.
The way I'm thinking the way I thought at 2 is the same way I'm thinking at 48. You know, so it wasn't a transition. It was me. Like, you be you. Like, it's uncomfortable, but you do you. It's called growing pains. Right. But to sit there and just use that word only for trans people is even problematic. Because it makes it seem like all we did, we had to change something to be us. We did not have to change anything to be us. I am being me. I was me at 2. I was me at 3. I was me at 15, 16, 20, 30, and the other years that's going to come. But it wasn't important because trans wasn't a word, first of all, in my vocabulary, because I'm born in the early 70s. And even coming into the community, trans wasn't a word right there. So transition, if trans wasn't a word, transitioning wasn't a word.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, we have to understand the evolution of language,
right,
and how we got there. And that just because it's a big mainstream term that's used now does not mean that that term was there for me and other people.
I'm listening.
Go ahead. No, that was it. It wasn't important because I was living me. What was important was being me. I mean, yes, people ask what was the delay, and it was never a delay. If you knew me and you saw me in the house, I had the same old breast, the same old thing. The thing, what was more important to me was I had a kid.
Right.
And that if anything on this earth that I'm a sacrifice for, and still to be this day, would be my kid.
Right.
And he did not make a choice to be my kid.
Right.
So in that retrospect, me and my son had an agreement. If you graduate high school, I will graduate into my life. But right now, your life is more important to me. Right. So when Nicholas graduated high school, I graduated me. It wasn't like I had to go out there and get implants and do this. All I had to do was take off my hat and the 3 sports bras. So, I mean, not it's just the 3, baby.
Okay.
It's just crazy. Like, we have to allow to understand, stop making it seem like trans people had to do something indifferent to be them. No, society is making it difficult for us to be us. And the reason why it's so that is because everybody thinks that they have so much, they're so invasive to the process of our lives.
Indeed. If there's something that you can tell someone coming up, someone that's following in your footsteps, not necessarily what you did, but saying, okay, Atlantis did it. I want to do what Atlantis did. What's one thing that you could tell them, whoever it may be?
You own your visibility.
Come on.
Too many times people think that they want to take a lot of people's visibility and govern it for what they want it to be. I have never been the person to jump up and do everything that people ask me to do or say yes to everything, because you have to realize when you're a name, you become a brand. And when you walk in a room with something, you are visually saying that I agree with this.
Right.
And if I'm not walking in a room where I want people to think that I agree with something, I don't go in rooms where I'm going to sit and have to spend the bulk of my time arguing or educating. It's 2020. Google it. Like, we have really made it where we feel like trans people have a responsibility of teaching somebody about them. I am not explaining shit about me for you to be in the room with me for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Now, let's go to the navel and the needs question. Because that's the one I want. So you asked it because I'm ready for that one.
Okay, so wait, what you say?
The navel and your navel and your navel.
Oh. Okay, so let me say this before we move on to this question, because this is going to be a doozy, right? I think sometimes people will say, how is it that they will want to know, how was it, you mentioned Nick, and you mentioned what the agreement was with Nick. At any time, did Nick ever come to you and say, I'm worried about you?
Oh God. So that has warranted to step back. And as you see me trying to ready women to be CHL ready or self-defense. So a couple of years, last year, and I think my son sat in this very chair and literally looked at me twice in 1 year and said, hey, I'm nervous for you because a lot of stuff is happening and has happened to you. And you're out there and you're always doing that by yourself. I need you to kind of think about maybe not doing everything. At that moment, that changed a whole lot for me, because I don't think that I had ever thought, I thought about protecting Nick, but I don't think that I had thought about the mental and emotional fear that it may have been put on him to know that things were going like that. And then it is bad out here. Like, I've been cornered in my apartment. I've had men pull out their penis in front of me and not doing everything. So that narrative is that trans women are putting themselves in danger is false. But I'm also, like Nick said, you doing this for a community that's not even protecting you. For my son to say that and realize that he has always told me year after year, you do a lot for your community, you do a lot for people, do something for you, do that. Even y'all as family members have said that, but it's easy to say, it's easy to say something when people don't really understand what your steps are.
Indeed. I think that's important because sometimes we, as parents, we tell the children what the children need or what the children should have or what they should go. But when the children grow up and they see, they want to protect their parents. You know what I'm saying? They want to make sure.
I was different. I didn't think I told Nick what he needed to think or what he needs to feel. I think me and Nick had such a relationship where we could talk.
Yeah.
I made sure that regardless of all the stages I've been on, that it was always Nick needed to feel like he was first.
Right.
Because I never want him to feel like none of this took precedent over him. So we had these areas of where we really talk. Like, you know, when I would go compete for a pageant and if I won or whatever I did, I literally went back and got my kid from my mom and I showed him the crown and the plaques and whatever. And we had that, you know, and brought him home. So the thing is that I've never not included my kid was important, you know, in that when he sits and say this as an adult male and he's saying that is something really freaking you have to listen to because my son doesn't live with me. He's on his own, but I do not want him to sit there and feel like he has to be fearful of every step I take. But Nick, do know your parent is packing.
Right. Yes, Auntie, we remember that. Actually, Cookie LaCook was a very good friend.
Next door neighbor.
Right, okay, right down the street where you saw it. And Cookie LaCook, my first show, Cookie LaCook hosted my very first show. I'll never forget. And yeah, Cookie LaCook was great. Yeah, Auntie, we know Cookie. We know Cookie.
Hey, Tino. Hey, Marcus.
Let's see. Then we ran out and got guns. You sure right, Bernice. You sure right. Sure Jennifer Thomas, oh my God, I've been waiting for this. So Jennifer has been just waiting. So our son Valentino is on here as well. He's Jennifer's wardrobe stylist, right? And so Jennifer just loves Capri because she loves Valentino and Titan, and she was like, I just want to know about it all. So you've been waiting. Now you got it. Hello, Mom and Dad. Valentino says.
So extra.
And then Jennifer says, "Why I feel like I want to cry right now."
Because it make you want to cry. Yeah, I think that I'm never gonna lie and say that I don't get emotional when I think about our memories or when I talk about Nick. I'm always gonna be emotional when I talk about anything that I have invested in and that has invested in me. Hey, Marcus, look at that. Look at Magnite.
Okay. Oh. The eyes. Look at the eyes. Look at that. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, so yes, y'all keep giving Atlantis love, letting her know that she's loved. Keep giving her love.
Until 9:30, then I clocked in. It's my real job.
And we want to give God favor. That's what we want to do. We want to thank you for that right there. So this is the question that has been on not everybody, Lord, because it's not all of us, but it's been in the media. It's been asked all the time. And the question is, why is it? That's not the question. I was going to say, why is it inappropriate
on Palm Street?
Come on, that's right, Leigh on Palm Street. I just said we were out there spray painting backdrops and stuff out on the porch.
Porch. But go ahead.
Yeah, I remember too. And the cooking. Grandma, mom, yeah, those were the days. Okay, so here's the question that was posed. Why is it inappropriate to ask a trans woman about her genitalia? Now, Atlanta said earlier, between the navel and the knees, and I was totally lost on that. But yeah, so candid conversation. I want to hear from Atlantis. Why?
No, I don't think. I mean, your question is a good question, but I think we need to roll back for a minute.
Okay.
Where have we made that a thing where that could be asked?
Exactly.
Once when you put LGBT, which is sexual orientation, with T, which is the gender identity, visibly sexualize the trans bodies at that moment. So that's where it first started. That's right there. So now as people asking what's between my navel and knees and why it's inappropriate, I always feel like, at first I used to say that's just inappropriate. You shouldn't be doing that. That's really invasive in a trans person's space. But then I started saying, okay, obviously you don't understand. So if anybody was looking at a live panel discussion with me some years back, someone asked about genitalia, and I said, okay, are you 12 inches? Are you circumcised? Do you have duck butter? Can you last 4 hours? Can you do that? And they said that was rude for me to ask that. My point exactly.
You just said duck butter.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sorry for the brashness of this, but the brashness is what it is. Like, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Like, if you don't want me to ask you if the size of your penis or how do you have an odor down there or this and that, don't ask a trans person. The only person who need to be worried about what's between my navels and knees is the person I'm with. And trust me, they not worried. And I'm not tricking or nothing. They're not worried. So, I mean, I think that's just, but we have sexualized the trans body so much. So that is a conversation. Once again, goes back to where we feel like we need to explain everything about our transness to people that's not going to make a difference in our life. That is stupid. So, yes, do not ask anybody what's between their navels or knees unless you're ready. Especially don't ask me. Because I'm going to ask you your size, I'm going to ask you your curve, I'm going to ask whatever can you last or whatever. And if you get offended, that's how every trans person feels when you ask them about their body parts. That's just crazy. Like,
it doesn't make sense. I don't know why people feel the need to go there. Always, whenever there's a mention of a trans woman or trans man, it's always that.
You know why? Because the conversations start in these small cliques and groups, y'all. It's always about a trans woman's breast or her body, or even with the people that we date. You'll let a trans woman get on your back. Let me explain top and bottoms to y'all, okay, baby? If he laying down and you riding, you the top. Because he on the bottom. So the thing is, stop worrying about what people are doing in their bedroom. Like, we have gotten so caught up into what people are doing, what the people that are dating trans people are doing in their bedroom. Like, I've been in spaces where I hear them say, "Ooh, that trans girl got a big old piece." I think that's tacky as hell. Like, and we need to stop in that sense of not just with trans people, the non-gender conforming, wondering about what they doing and how they doing. Like, I'm so over so many things with this thing. Like, in this conversation, so I don't even like have conversations with people because I have to say in this, and I tell people, do not argue with people. If you consider yourself intelligent, would you argue with a wall? I mean, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I feel like those words that I'm giving, I will give to somebody that wants to hear. And if you want to ask me something about transness, at least take some steps to figure out something and have some research done on your end, and I will come back and add clarity. But let's hold on to that. I am not the representation of all trans people. I am not the only presentation of all trans people. I am a representation for myself first, and then I choose to use my voice to be a funnel for the representations that stand behind me. I don't own this trans stage. And so when you sitting up there, when people say, well, you won't take these pictures, you won't do this, you won't do that for this magazine, you won't do that, because in mainstream, they have put out an image of what trans is supposed to look like. We have yet, as real trans individuals, been able to identify and define ourselves. Exactly. Like, mainstream controls our image. And the thing is that society goes off of that. So visually, I'm not doing that. I'm not saying I'm not passable. I'm not saying I'm clockable. I'm not saying no. What I'm saying is I'm Atlantis.
That part. Vernon says, Ma, did I tell you somebody asked me about my bottom parts a few weeks ago?
You should have sent them to me, baby. I would have got it.
Tiffany said, period. Oh my God, I love that answer. Yes, indeed. I want to meet Atlantis before I leave this earth. You know what, Jennifer? Yeah, we're gonna get you right.
I just spoke about
non-binary. Yeah. Yes, you better speak facts. Snaps. You are the best. Oh, look at Auntie. So, with that being said, with you doing Save Our Sisters United, what do you hope, or what do you want to have happen in the future? What do we need?
So I can't answer for what we need.
Okay.
I can't answer for what needs to happen.
Okay.
But what I do, my role and my part in what Save Our Sisters is for to help navigate trans and cis women of color to the services that they need.
Okay.
Because what I'm realizing is that I didn't know I was going to be doing any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if we don't start feeding the root to the tree, we're not going to have no pretty leaves. So what I'm saying is that we have to start getting our newer generation and some of our older generation and giving them the tools where to be successful whenever they have to speak up and be a representation.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say this, when a trans person walks out their door, they are a representation and they're being visible. So stop thinking people are hiding. But I want to make sure that every trans woman is not still fighting over the thing of trying to get their name and gender marker change, trying to get adequate health care, trying to feel protected. And the thing is that how can you expect me to argue for all this when I myself am struggling for
right.
So what we are doing is that we as a society and a community, we are looking at all the pretty flowers and the green leaves and the strong bark, but we are yet to be looking at the root.
Indeed.
And that root is what feeds all that. And what I'm saying is that at one point, me and you were the roots. Somebody had to feed us. We moved up to the bark. We moved up to the leaves, and we moved up to the flowers, to being the blossoms. We have to respect that process. And if you don't, and when we fall off that tree as a blossom, we refuel that thing with that knowledge. And we're not really respecting that circle of life and interchangeable energy and knowledge because we think that it's all ours. But as Black people, it's rightfully for us to always feel like we're starving and don't want to share and don't want to do that because half of us make our money off of that.
Just had this conversation. So I want to ask a couple of things really quick. You just mentioned with the services that you provide at Save Our Sisters United, you mentioned gender marker, right? And then you also mentioned earlier on about legally changing your name, right? Can you tell us, give us some of the things that we think, you know what, why was it important? Why was it important? I'm gonna just say that because I'm pretty sure you want to answer. Why was it important for you to legally make your name, what it was, and then also to express to us or tell us about a gender marker? What does that actually mean?
So it was important for me, one, to change my name because I needed a name that was for me.
Gotcha.
Not a name that was assigned to me.
Right.
Okay. And of course, if you know my birth name, it was a very aggressive name that didn't fit with this. The gender marker was more, it wasn't done for social exceptions. It was for myself. And as it is for any other trans person, people keep thinking we're doing this to try to get over somebody. But I would say this, as a trans person with an excellent work resume, it took me 15 years to get a legal job.
Oh, wow.
There are my dog, you know that. I worked clubs and everything and shows and did so many other things, but it took me 15 years to get a job. I chose to go back to school because I knew I wanted to try to give myself a better playing field. Not saying that that's the only route, that's the route I use. But it was important that if I was going to walk into this new cycle of existence, I was going to walk in as my true me. It's important that when you go in those space, the way you walk in the room is the way they respect you in that room. So if I walked in that room legally, Atlantis, and as this female legally, you're going to respect me as such. Even if you're not, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm saying for me as a person, I'm going to walk in the room, and I like to have my ducks in a row when I get ready to shoot them. You know, and I think that it's important that this is going on because so many times a lot of trans people think, like a lot of people, that being a woman is having this anatomy or doing this or playing that role, and that does not define a woman. That is actually a gender role or gender stereotypes in a sense for me. But it is sometimes knowing who you are and not thinking that you need to alter your body or go chop off something to be validated or fitting in. It's different. Nobody knows what you have. Like, people could call me a man all day. If you haven't been between my legs, that does not even matter. Just like you calling me a man, I could call you a woman. Right. I mean, we have to understand, like, stop wasting our time on arguments. That's not going to get us anywhere. I don't have to defend myself against somebody who is worried about myself. Exactly. It's not my reason that you find me attractive. It's not my reason if you're not attracted to yourself or that you don't have that. I don't know. What I'm saying is that I'm more focused on growing healthy and making sure other people grow healthy. And I do have to kind of walk in the light that I'm trying to tell people that can exist, meaning I'm not going to sit out here being arguing and fighting with people. Yes, we know I can argue. I am a quiet person by nature. Yeah. But if you push my buttons to where I need to tell you that when I speak, I'm going to speak. I got that degree in sociology for a reason, because I study society.
Okay. So the gender marker, why was it so important?
I just told you to be able to walk in the room.
Exactly. So is that something that changes, like, on your license?
It changes on your license, on all your paperwork.
Gotcha.
And I think that that's important for trans people, because you, like I said, you want to walk in the room as your true self, how you identify, and not how somebody tell you should identify. Gotcha. Think about it, as you're as a male, how important is it that people know that you're a male?
It's important. Yeah,
and it's even more important as a Black male,
right? And it's more important as a Black gay male. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
So the thing is that everything that you just said was important. I went through all those stages. You just haven't been to the latter stages.
Right. Gotcha.
The importance does not leave. It's still there.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to kind of clarify just a little bit on the gender markers. Somebody asked the question about that, and I just wanted to make sure that Atlantis got the opportunity to tell you what that was, so you understood the importance of that. Because sometimes we hear words or we hear phrases and we don't necessarily know what they are. Because just like Atlantis said, our house, our family is like the old folks used to say, from one side of the spectrum to the other, from the rooty to the tooty. We're all a mixture, and sometimes some people don't know. So when they ask questions like that, we just want to clarify, just to state, as Atlantis said, we're not trying to go in every room every time and try to explain to you what's going on. But on this platform here today, she said she would be candid, and then that was one of the questions. So gender marker, look it up, and then you can understand what that actually means and why that's so important, according to what Atlantis just stated.
Another thing is that don't even look it up. The way you want to be real supportive and a true ally for trans people is the 2 P's: be present and personal.
How about that?
Start knowing who we are. Be present in our fight. The thing is that you have a privilege. That's a 3rd P, to go in spaces that trans people don't have, to carry some of these narratives. I mean, and if you don't, like, trans women have laid their bodies on the front line for so many years. So many things, this and that. I have seen alphabets in the LGBTQ shift and move around, but that T never moves. And that is sad, that we think that the T is such alienated and we don't see a problem with it. So if you want to be this person, like, just because you like me as a trans person and you'll fight for me as a trans person, if you're not doing that equally for another trans person that's standing over there 6 feet away from me, you're not really for trans people. And I think that we have to stop nitpicking and clicking, making trans click who we like, oh, because she's passable or because she's this. And I use this word passable that I despise, because I don't see any look that say, oh, this makes her look like a woman. But what I've realized is anything that comes with the trans experience is amplified. When we're not doing nothing any different than everybody else. What's the children saying?
I'm trying to see it. I'm gonna go back up here. I wonder what it would be like to sit in the same room with Valentino Capri, Titan Capri, and the matriarch as well. Oh my God, Lord. Bucket list. Don't mind. You know what I'm gonna tell you now? You're gonna get a whole lot of silliness, because it's gonna be like a reunion up in this camp.
And I'm gonna leave.
Let's see. Vernon said, and you know I will always be willing to crush the people on your behalf. Indeed.
You know
that. Right. And Tiffany said the doors are open to others, are closed to trans. So we have to come on kicking down doors and showing them that we fit in the position. And my nanny did that. Very professional, period. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
The defected young mind. young people minds.
Did somebody come on to my you know what?
It's okay. Like you,
it's all good.
The thing is that even if somebody is man, let's see, we don't understand nigga. We know nigga. We know.
Yeah.
I mean that stuff doesn't bother me. Because look at them. Like you literally you hiding behind a thing
right
with no face. And I'm gonna read right now. This is where I'm gonna get real cute for this for a moment. You hiding behind that thing, you don't know me, you wouldn't say it in my face because then you wouldn't understand what you're gonna get. 2, what you're saying to me only reflects you.
Exactly.
So you could sit up here and read and say the nigga word or saying this about children and this and that, but I could guarantee you put my resume as a parent next to yours as a person, you still wouldn't be able to touch me.
Okay, Atlantis North is a beautiful person inside and out. Hey. The tea never moves, right? Good morning, family. Hey, Leo.
Travell.
Great platform. Love you both. Love you too.
That's Byron, baby. That's an inside joke.
Go off, Deborah Cox.
Like, that's stupid. Yes. I mean, why do you think that your voice is needed in this space?
Hey, Andre. Look, what was Andre's name?
Who?
Andre.
Tall one. Tall,
yeah,
right?
I'm a star. Hey, Andre.
Hey, Andre.
Read, silly mother. Let's see. And that's that on that. Indeed. Educated and beautiful.
I'm just tired of that.
And that part has been read. Oops.
And that's the reason why I won't do lives.
Yeah.
And I won't do that stuff. It's not that I'm afraid to even interact with those people or this and that, but I am very mindful that I'm not the only one reading this.
Right.
And for someone that may not feel so confident in anything, seeing this is only reinforcing that it's wrong to be you.
Indeed.
And that this is what your life gonna have to be about. But the thing is that, like, sometimes this is the first I've ever read somebody on the live, and it wasn't really a read. It was really bringing you back into the point that you walked over here into this world to get something. And if you choose to call me this and that and whatever, it has no problem to do it. But I will say this: one day you may have, if not already, have a trans person in your family. And they're seeing your words.
Right, exactly. That part right there. So I've already taken them out. So lastly, we're going to go ahead on and close this out. So lastly, where do you see yourself going in the future? And what does that future hold for Capri?
So I see myself going to work in the future.
Exactly.
So where I see myself, let me be honest with that, because it's a real thing about it. Where I see myself going when it comes in reference to House of Capri, I feel like this was the perfect time that I start letting my family member govern their legacy. The thing is that a lot of times when the matriarch passes, that the family does not know how to do anything and they make careless mistakes and this and that and whatever, or they're problem solving. They don't know how to work as a group because they think that this area of power is power when actually it's respect. You can't have any power if you don't have any respect.
Indeed.
So I'm trying to make sure that my kids or my family, in a sense, is why I'm still here, to go through all the bumps so I can help them, compared to trying to figure out the bumps when I'm not. So it's not that I have left my House of Capri or that I have forgot my House of Capri. I'm actually doing one with my family, suggests go live your life. We grown. But then two, also to be here for them when they run into blocks. And when there is an issue in HOX, they do call me. So that's a good thing. So that is not that. The thing is that I want to put my house in a place where its legacy is a legacy that they enjoy and that they know how to govern, and not a legacy that was pushed on them or a responsibility that was pushed on them because of matriarch passed. Now, as far as it goes as SOSU, I want to continue getting it to grow. I also want it to be this thing where I could no, let me back up. So the same instance that I built House of Capri, I kind of built SOS with in a sense.
Gotcha.
So if a lot of people don't know that some of my gifts to the family, like their 10 and 15 year, one was getting a DDA, then getting an EIN. It wasn't for no purpose of being cute or anything. It was so that my kids could put this on their job applications as being part of an organization and a group. What we don't realize when we go into HRs and applying for jobs is that a lot of times people want to see that you could work well with others. And by having House of Capri on there, it acts like a thing. It's that thing of showing that I could work as a community. So when I got to SOS, I had already been into all that stuff. So I just promptly started doing everything SOS. And the goal with SOS is, yes, it's all 501c3 and everything is the goal for women to take care of women.
Right.
A lot of trans women are going back to school. When we know going to school requires you getting loans and stuff. Excuse me. And what I wanted to do was that if you work with Save Our Sisters as a trans woman for 10 years, it's a nonprofit organ. Your school grants could be written off.
So, come on.
And then I want women to take care of women.
Right.
But I also want a building where it acts like a hub of pharmacy in it, and that we have multiple people come on certain days from organizations to help people fill out their forms and get ready for them so that they can walk into services when they go into those places. I have also started branching SOS out to a trans men branch because I feel like as much, even though people say the trans men have forgotten about their trans sisters, that doesn't matter. But what are we going to be ugly because they forgot us to a degree? But I can't get mad at them to not want to live a life of what trans women go through. So we have started, we lend our foundations to our trans brothers and sisters. Trans brothers, so that they can have a space and build. The thing is that the goal is to take care of community. That is two words, come in unity, and we have refused to do that. We have so many me agendas, and it's time to flip that M back to a W so we can have the we agenda. It is crazy that we have been this way so long, and that a lot of us are afraid to step up and do things because we don't want to get attacked by a public. Like I always say, half of the people I'm fighting for don't even like me.
Indeed.
Or they have a preconceived notion about who I am, or that they think I'm stuck up in this and that. For just some clarification in this stuck up, I'm so tired of the stuck up, and she thinks she's so much thing. I'm not stuck up. I have self-respect. I'm actually an introvert into myself. I think people mistake me being an entertainer and think that I have to have this outgoing thing. But as an individual, I am not stuck up. I'm really to myself. It has nothing to do with me being stuck up, but it's called self-respect.
Indeed. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you so much. This is my first time. She asked me on my way over here this morning, was I excited? And I told her yes, because I had not. So I'm gonna say this before I get out of here, because I just wanna let everybody know.
Leon, get off this live.
Leon, you always. So I just want to let everybody know, like, sometimes we don't really, we take what we have for granted because it's always there. This is what I want to say. So I wanted to say this to our allies, for our trans women and our trans men and those that are in the fight and are doing that. Sometimes we don't realize where a person is on their journey or how they identify, because we identify as them. Like you just said, people think because you're an entertainer that you're outgoing and this and that. So Atlantis and I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I told Atlantis, I said, I never even thought of that, because I'm thinking of you as Atlantis. Like, I know you as Atlantis, but I wasn't thinking what society thought of you or felt about you, because I was like, well, shoot, she can do da because she Atlantis like that. But I didn't understand what that was until I was talking with Ian, and I was just like, not another like I was talking with Dee Dee, and I was like, not another, like, what is happening? But then you brought it to perspective when you said, well, Titan, normally you see me as who I am. Like, you see me, they don't. So when you go about your day, okay, Atlantis doing this and doing that or whatever have you, you don't think about having to protect or having to look out for Atlantis, because Atlantis is who Atlantis is. but out in society, in the world, it's totally different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, I had told you, I said, oh, I was just like, well, Atlantis gonna do what Atlantis gonna do. Atlantis is good, not in a bad sense, but just, hey, she gonna be. And then I thought, oh, snap. Like, I literally just went walking.
Well, it was, the thing is that when I was fortunate, and a lot of other trans women too, where we had gay men around us as we were progressing into blooming who we were. So in that sense, you see us as a female. But I think sometimes it gives you a handicap that just because you see us as that female, you don't understand the problems that come with us being trans.
That part.
So I mean, just because you see me as this female, the world's gonna see me as this trans female. And to you thinking that, like, y'all kind of downplay what we're experiencing and not realizing, because it's just not that.
Right.
That's not the way it is.
Right.
Yes. I mean, though, yes, I am a female, regardless of what side of the door I'm on.
Right.
But also what side of the door I'm on is the type of problems I have to deal with.
Right. And so I just wanted to mention that before we get out of here, ladies and gentlemen, because sometimes we are on the side, we sit amongst, we're a family, we're all of this, and we see a trans person or a trans woman or trans man differently than society does. And it doesn't mean that you're bad. It's just that you see them for who they are. And then society doesn't necessarily see them the same way. And I really did not understand that until just this year. We were just talking and she was like, da, da, da. And I said, you know what? I never even thought of that. Because I was like, oh, that's Atlantis. Da, 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 da. Atlantis, this is so-and-so. Atlantis, this is this and this and that. And I'm just going with it and not even thinking that's how it is. So what I want to say to you all is do not shy away from that. The same way that me and Atlantis had a conversation, you can speak with your trans sisters and brothers and have that same conversation on that. I just don't want you to feel as if you cannot still be there for your trans sisters and brothers just because you at one point saw them but didn't see them like out in the world. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but I just wanted to bring that because a lot of people say, well, how do I continue to be an ally if I don't know what I should do or what I shouldn't do? In the same way, I'm just talking to Atlantis, and Atlantis said, well, Titan, that's what that was. And I was like, oh, snap. Oh, snap. I didn't get it, but I got it. But I got it now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to give an applause to my my co-host today. I know I'm doing an interview, but I want y'all to give an applause to Atlantis Capri for allowing me to interview her, ask her questions, be candid about that. Please go to Save Our Sisters United on Facebook for our trans sisters and brothers. If you need anything, I'm not saying that she's the sole person to come to, but please go to Save Our Sisters United and she can navigate you that way. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on and being candid. Thank you for doing all of that. Aw.
One love, Capri.
Ah, look at that. Aw. Andre said, I'm so happy for you both.
Leigh, I'm talking about you.
Okay. I do. Thank you, Andre. Thank you.
Thank you, Alma Star.
Okay. Wait a minute. And if I'm not mistaken, that was on Palm Street.
Yep.
So Leon was just talking about Palm Street.
Palm Street.
Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here. I got to let Atlantis go so she can go ahead and make those dollars and bucks and cents and all that good stuff.
Continue being a community.
Okay, continue saving us. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Catch me on tomorrow for Workshop Wednesday. Thank you all for the support. And we want to thank Atlantis for being on. Peace and blessings to you until next time.